Hello, ladies. I think you can hear me now, which you should be able to because I see the little microphone green part kind of jumping up and down, telling me that the audio is working. So, first of all, welcome. It's me, London, Souza. This is the first time I've ever been on this call before, let's say. So it says it's recording. I think everything is good. I hope so. And so it's my first time being here on this Friday mindset call. Normally I am on the calls on Monday where we do the longer call. It's about 2 hours. And it's video. So this time I'm joining you guys from a comfy spot on my couch with my computer. And yeah, it's just audio. So I can't see any of you guys, but thank you so much for being here. I see that Brandy is on here. Awesome. Hi, Brandy. And so Fridays is the days we talk about mindset. Just kind of go over anything. I mean, you guys, in theory, should be driving the discussion here. And if you have any questions, please always put them in the document that Jill posted in the group, so you can get all of your questions as detailed as you want answered during these times. So those documents and these calls are for you guys. So whatever you can put in there whenever you have any questions or anything like that, that's what it's there for. So I do this call, some time ago around 6 o'clock my time. So I'm in Austria in Europe. 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, but Diane and I had switched around some of our meeting schedules so that I could take care of some and she could take care of the others. And then we realized that the tool that we have doesn't allow us to do calls simultaneously. So now what we'll have to do is I have an account and she has an account, so we'll just separate some of those calls that I'm doing versus what she's doing, so we don't run into those problems. But if you never try it out and never kind of make those mistakes and have those little hiccups, then you never really know. So now we know that we need 2 separate accounts and things like that. One other small housekeeping thing quickly is starting next week, this call will still be on Fridays, but it will be moved to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 4 o'clock p.m. my time. So we will do the Friday calls now at that time, which I hope maybe is better for some of you guys, especially because if you guys are living in the West Coast of America, 7 o'clock might be better. So it might be better for you guys to be able to listen while you're getting ready for work or on your way to work. So just know that starting next week, we will do 4 o'clock my time, which is 7 a.m. your time. So just mark your calendars for that, for Fridays, and for here on out. It will always be at that time with me, okay? So today we have one question in the document from Brandy, I believe. And actually, I don't want to directly answer it right at this moment, because what I want to talk about kind of fits here in what is talking about, and kind of getting organized and where to start and where to find more time and how to kind of just go for things here. And so for those of you that know my story, maybe you don't. So we had a lot of people just graduate, and then we have a lot of new people starting now, and it's really exciting and really great. And when I thought about, okay, what do I want to talk about today? What are some mindset tips and kind of aha moments and things that I want to share? And generally, I get the topic ideas and the things I want to discuss with you guys just through my life. So just through living, being present, being open, being curious, being honest with myself and my feelings. And so I was having a conversation with Diane, I think a week ago, or maybe a week and a half ago. And for those of you that don't know, so I'm from California, but I live in Austria. And for the last 5.5 years, I've been working for a company, an Austrian-based company called Runtastic. And I've been working with them for 5.5 years, but the last 4 years has been at Runtastic headquarters in the office here in Austria, which is for more or less the reason why I moved here in the first place. And 2 weeks ago from today was my last day working there in the office. And I quit working there. I'll still do some projects with them here and there on a case-by-case basis when it comes to fitness-related stuff and social media content and things like that. And so I'll still work with them a little bit, but yeah, I took this kind of pretty big step and decided, I don't want to work in an office forever. I have some dreams and aspirations and other things that I want to fulfill. And the direction that I'm going now is not necessarily the wrong direction. It's not a bad job. It's an amazing place to work. The people are incredible. I get to travel a lot. Diagnostic is very well known in Europe and in other countries here, Russia and Asia and things like that. So doing what I do in my position is very public. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad job. It wasn't a bad direction. I don't even think it was maybe the wrong direction. It just wasn't my direction. And so I found myself in a situation where I'm like, okay, I need to make a change. I need to go in a direction that makes me feel most happy, of course, but also most confident, most authentic. And that's really what this program, this 8-week program is it's about helping you, get down to the nitty gritty of yourself and who you are and your dreams and aspirations and what you want for your life and what you deserve in your life. And I had gone through this with Diane. I was a client of hers before I became a co-coach with her. And that's kind of where I was. So I was kind of like where maybe a lot of you guys are, where you're coming into this program and you're like, okay, like I know I need to change. I need to figure out what's going on with myself, whatever. You'll get there. For sure you'll get there. But what I'm trying to get at is I'm also at a point where I have made a change. I've decided to do things differently. I've decided to kind of explore an area and a realm that is a little bit new and fresh and exciting. And I know that this is my direction. This is the way that I need to go. And it was funny because, okay, so 2 weeks ago on Friday, I had my last day. And I had the weekend free like normal. Then Monday was a public holiday here in Austria. And so Tuesday, that following week, that Tuesday, which was I think the 22nd of May. So that was like the first day where I should have gone to work or to the office. And I didn't because I made a different decision. Time was up, whatever. And it was funny because I was telling Diane and a few other people, they're like, how is everything going? Is it different? Is it amazing? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, to be honest, like, I still feel the same. Like, I don't know. I still feel like me. For some reason, I was expecting that like my unicorn horn would like bust out of my third eye and like the glitter and confetti would fall from the sky, the biodegradable kind, not the plastic kind, and just shed all over me, and I would have a clear path and like just go. And that wasn't the case. I've heard this quote before where it's like, when you knock on the door of opportunity, don't be surprised if it's work that answers. And I was really reminded of that because I'm like, okay, like I'm super motivated, super excited, last day of work, time to do my own thing, entrepreneur life, blah, blah, blah. And then I got to that day and I was kind of like, okay, like, what do I do? Is this right? Is this how it's supposed to feel? And so maybe a lot of you guys who are either, number one, just joining the group, or almost finished or close to graduation, and you're entering in yet another new area. So with a new mindset, with new lenses, with new view, or maybe, like I said, you're just starting this program and you're just coming in and, you have your breakthrough call with Diane and you're ready and you're, let's go and let's do it. I'm ready. I have all my things, like everything that I need. I'm motivated. I'm going to do this. And then you get there and it's day one and you're like, okay, there's a lot of stuff I have to read and a lot of videos I have to watch and a lot of time I have to carve out and a lot of self-work and heart work I need to do. And it's not like I just open, Kajabi module week 1, day 1, and like I said, the confetti comes and drops and balloons and, everybody starts singing in perfect harmony as you're walking down the street. It's really the case that when you embark on any sort of change, when you knock on that door of opportunity, when you have that curiosity, when you go into a new space and a new place that you've been wanting to explore, don't be surprised when it's work who answers. And so one of the things I wrote down here in my notebook is expectations. And what are your expectations? Do you have, we often hear like realistic expectations or unrealistic expectations, and what do you expect out of this program, and what do you expect out of your life? And in my example, what do I expect out of this new chapter in my life, going from working in an office to being here? Like, we have all of these expectations and the way that we expect things to go. And then more times than not, they just don't go that way. I mean, if you've done something before and you're repeating it and doing it again, you might have an expectation more or less of how this should go or what it should look like or whatever. But what I want to share here and what I learned over the last couple weeks is it's so much better when you just drop expectations and just pick up being present. So when you just drop the expectations and be present, because maybe you expected this program to be super easy. And I was on a call with a girl, just a very beginning call, some girl who contacted me through Instagram. And she was like, well, is there anything that you can we were just talking about a variety of things. And she's like, I just don't really have time right now. Is there any way that if we do this program that everything can just be emailed to me and tell me exactly what to do? And I don't really have to read so much and whatever. And I was like, well, if that's what you're looking for, that's not the program that we're offering. And that's not kind of the space that we have reserved open, for the women that come into our community. We don't want people who are just trying to be, like we say, a horse in a herd, just blending in with everybody else, just going through the motions, just having everybody tell us what to do all the time. We want to kick ass. We want to be unicorns. We want to be open to create our own adventure. So while you have these 8 weeks of whatever you might expect to happen, everybody's interpretation, everybody's takeaways, everybody's outcome is going to be completely different. So that's why my message today to myself and to you guys is to drop the expectations and just be freaking present. Take it moment by moment, module by module, article by article, detox method by detox method. Do a little bit or as much as you can, but if you expect that you're gonna go through, each week and you're gonna have all your supplements lined out and everything's gonna be perfect and all of these things and then you're gonna get to this point where you're like, okay, only, 6 of the 10 boxes are checked off, so I failed. And when you expect to be perfect, it's the worst letdown. And so that's why I think this topic really goes into the question that Brandy asked, and I'm going to pop it open here really quick. I know it was short and sweet, but I just don't want to read it wrong. So Brandy put here, it was it wasn't a question. It was actually the biggest celebration. I looked at it wrong. So that's cool. So her biggest celebration was getting on a better schedule. And that's something that you guys have to work through. And I know that in the first week, it's all about making your schedule and a plan and whatever. In a week, when you think about it, you're like, okay, that's kind of a long time. I have 7 full days to make the schedule and make this plan. And where am I going to fit in these extra hours per day in order to learn this information and in order to get through these modules? And we give you a week for that, but for some of you, it might take a little bit longer, and that's okay. So that's what I'm talking about here with expectations. If you expect that you're going to be on target every single module, every single week, just tuck, 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 going through all of the things, you're probably going to end up pretty upset. So I want you guys to just be present. I want you to go through each module each week, step by step, carving out your time and everything, because you'll definitely get there. And so for me, I had created, and this is the thing too, is when you create a schedule, you have to test it and you have to see if it works, You have to see, okay, is this exactly how I imagined it? So I spent probably a week and a half before I even had my last day at my job creating this schedule, okay? like super color coordinated, everything mapped out. I have my me time in there. I have the time I'm going to be spending doing calls with you guys, working with Diane, doing some work with essential oils, working on creating new stuff and learning new things as I'm working with Diane and working with you guys in order to, just learn more things to contribute and to teach you guys. And then, of course, to create new programs, content, make updates, just everything. I scheduled everything, okay? And the first week when it came time to do everything, it was really like I was almost like a deer caught in the headlights. Like, okay, where do I go? What do I do? And to be honest, the calendar that I created for myself in the beginning wasn't the calendar that realistically was going to work for me in this situation. It wasn't the case that I was like, okay, I set, I wanted to start my day at 6 o'clock in the morning, but then I realized, okay, now that I don't have something specific to be up for in the morning, like going to the office or having any super early meetings, I kind of just want to wake up when my body wants to wake up, which is not super late anyways. It's usually between 6 and 6:30, but I'm like, I just feel better when I'm not setting an alarm for this. I'm going to do this. And I realized I put my creative time more in the afternoon. So I put my creative time, where I want to create content and where I want to just, do all of that stuff. I put that in the afternoon. And I realized, no. When I wake up in the morning, that's when I want to do my creative stuff. That's when my creative juices are flowing. That's when I want to write blog postings and create video content and create programs. Like, that's when I'm ready to go. And in the afternoon is where I like to do a lot more of the administrative stuff, editing spreadsheets and different things like that, or answering emails, or things that don't really take so much creative energy and creative output. And so this beautiful calendar that I created for myself with all the colors in all the ways that I know how, because this is what we teach in week 1. And this is the way I've done it before. When I was working in the office and everything, I had my calendar down pat, and I was like, okay, this is how I think this is going to look like for me. And I spent, like I said, a week and a half creating this calendar and creating enough time and what's going to be where. And then I spent the whole first week kind of in my new, I don't want to say new life, but this new chapter. In that first week, I spent all of last week basically fighting this calendar and trying to be in this space when I said, okay, my creative time is from 1 to 3, and I'm sitting there and thinking shit, I don't feel freaking creative right now. This is not right. So I actually spent most of last week changing the calendar, changing my expectations, letting go of, what I expected to be happening and occurring and what I expected everything to look like and be like, letting go of that. And, instead, just being present and saying okay, London, it's 1 o'clock. You said this is your creative time. Are you feeling creative right now? I asked myself this, and I'm like, no. I answered that fuck no for 4 times in a row. I'm like, no, this is not the space. This is not the time. And during the last 8 weeks, it was really interesting too, because we had some people in the group where we were talking about things like infrared sauna and coffee enemas and whatever. And for me personally, coffee enemas are a morning thing. I do those in the morning. That's before I even leave my house, that's a coffee enema morning, right? And there was another girl in the group, Sheila, and she was like, oh, I do coffee enemas in the evening. I find them super relaxing and I like it better then. Whereas I'm like, okay, when I do a coffee enema, I'm super energized. And that's not how I want to feel in the evening. So it might be the case that as you're going through all of these different modules and all of these different things, you have to revise that schedule. You have to make changes, and that's okay. See that as a good thing. Don't get frustrated about it. Don't see it as a failure, because I kind of did. I'm like, what the heck, London? You spent the last 4 years working at Runtastic, mastering your schedule, freaking mastering that schedule. And then I kind of took, the times of days and different things I was already doing stuff, and I put it in there, and I realized, okay, when I'm working at Runtastic and there's a team of us and I have meetings and different things, my output is different than when I'm, working at home or working from a coffee shop. I have the opportunity to say okay, I don't really want to work on that right now. I don't want to have that particular meeting topic happen right now. I'm in control of my schedule. And so it's been a really interesting last week for me. I'm kind of, let's say more or less in that week 1 phase with a lot of you guys, trying to figure out how to carve out time for this, how to carve out time for life. And all I can say for you guys here, and especially in terms of Brandy's celebration and win on getting on a better schedule, which is absolutely great. What I want to say here is, what do I want to say here? I was clicking over here to click on what you said. But what I want to say here in terms of getting on a better schedule and getting excited about that is just don't be afraid to mix and match here. Like, don't be afraid to say, okay, like today and tomorrow, like didn't go so well on the way that I had planned, you know, my schedule. I have my ACV in the morning or when your workouts are scheduled or whatever. Don't get too worked up out of it. And the main thing here, it came to me now, what I exactly wanted to say was, you're here for these 8 weeks. The best thing that you can do is make this prio number 1. Make this program prio number 1. And I say this because that's what I did when I went through this program before it was even a program. So when I was working with Diane and we were doing this together, and she was teaching me new things, we were teaching each other, and we decided to create this 8-week program out of it. But if you stick to this and you get through this and you push through, it is like a skeleton and it's a skeleton, like the calendar is a skeleton, and a lot of the practices are a skeleton and a foundation for when you go into those next chapters in your life and those next things. You're always coming back to a lot of these basics that we're teaching you in terms of carving out times in your schedule, you know, making sure that you have the, you know, all of your ducks in a row in terms of which supplements you're taking and getting enough sleep and doing your yoga nidra and all of these different things that are a part of this program. Make it prio number 1, and it will help you tackle so much more that life throws at you. And so Stacy just said, oh my God, I went through this last week. I felt like I was spinning out of control. I stepped back and regrouped and started over this week. It was great to be able to do that. It felt good to not beat myself up about it. Stacy, exactly. So this is the thing. So we have these welcome calls with you guys when you're going to start this program, and we let you guys know, okay, you have a week to like get everything in gear, and we feel like a week is a long time, and then, you know, you get into it, and like she said, she felt like she was spinning out of control because you have everything so organized, and then you jump in it, and you're kind of like, and I'm like wiggling my lips here. But I felt like, and I'm sure you guys too, it's like, okay, now where do I start? You know, what do I do? And it's okay to take longer in week 1. But I would also say, don't obsess over it so much about creating this perfect schedule. Create what you think might work. Test it out, change it. Test it out, change it. Test it out, change it. You know, maybe it's not a matter of, like in my case, it was really a total calendar rehaul. Maybe it's not that case. Maybe you're just like really struggling with, you know, I don't know, just because it's my favorite example ever, but coffee enemas. And you're like, I can't fit them into my schedule. I know I'm supposed to do it at this time, but it's not happening. Where can I move? And maybe you just need to move 1 or 2 pieces of the puzzle around in order to make it a little bit better for yourself. It doesn't always have to be like a complete calendar rehaul, but one thing, don't obsess so much about making the calendar and setting up those expectations, and don't take so long doing that you never dive into the meat and potatoes, the nitty gritty stuff, the good, juicy everything. And also don't not pay attention to it either. So don't create this calendar and then totally not pay attention to it and then completely, go off the bandwagon or discard everything. So it's kind of about finding that happy medium and that happy balance. But just like I'm giving you, let's say, a real life example out of this program where it's like repeat, it's just like repeat. It's just like when I first started with Diane, it was the busiest time of my life. I started with her, working with her as a client when I was so with my job at Diagnostic, between traveling for work and traveling for pleasure, I think I travel, I'm on the go more than I even am at home. But I started with her a week when I was going to be in 3 different countries in 1 week. So we went to Barcelona, Paris, and Berlin for a shooting. And it was literally 2 days in Barcelona, 1 day in Paris, 1 day in Berlin. So we were like on a plane every single day. And I started with her right then because I just kept saying, like, okay, I need to wait because, this is happening or like this. And finally Diane was like, okay, this is like your last chance. Either you commit or you don't. And I was like, okay, I commit. I'm in for sure, And it was the busiest time of my life. Like I was trying to organize all my supplements, like getting in, a lot of the reading material, doing the yoga and doing the stuff that I could while I was traveling and just everything. And I had to do the same thing. I created a schedule for myself. I had to tweak it, and sometimes it was the case, and it is still the case now. When you're super busy, you might have to go in and say like, okay, this is like my base calendar. This is like what works on like a normal week, or when when things are, let's say, more or less kind of going the same as per usual. Maybe it's during the week or whatever, but like it might be the case, like you're saying, okay, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be traveling for work. The kids are super busy. We're going to be traveling for, I don't know, I'm just making this up based on kind of what I feel like my mom was going through when I was kids, but like maybe the kids have like a soccer tournament, and they're busy and you have to be all over the place with them, and, or your husband's sick or these things, or your wife, I can say, yeah, your husband or your partner is sick, and just things kind of go crazy. Don't be afraid to say, okay, like I need to make a new calendar, like it's okay. Like this is what it looks like normally, but like this week, things are going to be different. And because I'm being present and I'm not having expectations that things are going to be going perfect all the time, but because I'm being present and I'm being honest with myself, I know that I need to kind of mix things up a little bit. And I need to change my calendar because on Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week, it's going to be chaos. So I need to move things around. Be open, be flexible. That's the only way that this program is going to help you, that this program is going to be able to go with you into real life, okay? If you expect it to be this, perfect 8 weeks, everything, then you go out into the real world where everything is not a module in Kajabi, where you're not learning something new every week via, something like this. You need to be able to figure out how to take these tactics into the real world. And I'm telling you, you will win and we will set you up for success. Let's see, what else did you say here, Stacy? She said, it was waking up emotions for me and dealing with them. I was obsessed about staying on task and not healing. I was treating it treating it like school, not the nitty gritty of learning it myself. Amen, sister. It's the exact same for me on that page too, because I was an excellent student. I'm an excellent employee. If someone tells me, okay, here's the list of all the things that you need to do, like, bop, 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 go. Like I am sure like you are just the task master, getting on task, whatever. And it's like, but if we're so obsessed with just like making lists and checking things off and being on task, like where is the hard work? Where is the work that we came here for? Where is the work, that's being done with ourselves and with our emotions? And with that being said, when those emotions come up from us obsessively, compulsively worrying about being organized, which I totally am guilty of that, but those emotions that come up, that's something about the program too. In week 1, you're making your calendar and being obsessive and getting emotional. And, in week 2, things aren't going the right way and whatever, like those emotions and those things that come up, that's part of the program too. That's part of it, and I love what Christy says about in Yoga Nidra, where she talks about like, just being present, just acknowledging that feeling, whether it's, I don't know, a feeling in your heart, a scratch, on, an itch on your elbow or anything, a sad moment, a happy moment, just let it be. Kind of marinate in it for a little bit. I'm using all these food terms today. I'm saying like meat and potatoes and marinate in it. I already had dinner, so I'm not hungry. But yeah, just really marinate it. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? What space is this coming from? Is it because, I'm used to being a perfectionist and I, and like for me, for example, in school, I graduated a valedictorian. I graduated with honors from college. Like, I'm such a good student. I'm such a good at learning and tasks and planning and, whatever. But when it came time to really digging in deeper, there was no list for that. There's no list when it comes to that. There's no list that we can create that says, okay, when you're going through the calendar, check this box when you get frustrated and check this box when the frustration goes away. It just doesn't work like that. And so Yeah, it's like, I feel like it's the perfect time for the way that I'm feeling, as well as where we kind of are in this Chai Hormone Warrior program, where there's a lot of new people starting and a lot of people graduating that have just finished. And so expectations going into this program, expectations going out of this program, expectations in general. It's good to have, to have an idea of where you want to be. It's good to have experience, what it feels like, through meditation and manifestation, and, what your dream life and creating that crazy, ridiculous, amazing, fun life that you've always wanted it, and to dream about it. And right now I have my eyes closed and I'm moving my arms, and just to feel it and breathe it and to know it, and just to get to know it and explore it and all of that. It's great to have that, but it's not great to have these expectations that put you in a box and don't allow you to kind of move and flow freely throughout this new experience. Let's say it like that. Let's say experience instead of expectations. Drop the expectations and go for the experiences, because that is what's going to set you up to be successful outside of this program. Not being perfect, not, being normal, because normal is boring, not being the most, who we don't have this person stuck to their calendar the best award at the end. Sorry. We don't have that. Excuse me. We have our wins every Friday, and our wins can be, that you like Brandy, she got on a better schedule. A win can be that, we dealt with some of those obsessive organizational feelings that we have. A win can be that you did your first coffee enema. A win can be that you, that you did your first castor oil pack, that you finished reading The Inner Child. Like, there are so many other wins and things to focus on, that completing this overall program as perfect or whatever as possible is unrealistic. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much, I think I nailed it really on the head. The message I wanted to give to you guys is, you guys are maybe starting something new, coming into this program, or embarking on something new, like getting ready to exit out of this program, or like me, starting a new job, or let's say going back. I used to be an entrepreneur when I lived in California as a fitness trainer, and now going back to digging a little bit deeper into that space and going back to being an entrepreneur. You're always going to be going into these different phases and these different places. And just take these tools as you're learning them and as you're experiencing them. And whether you're deciding if there's certain things that you like more than others or you don't like, because that's going to be the case for sure. Just experience it. Be present with it. Be present with all the feelings. That's what I'm doing now. So I'm just taking the time and going day by day, and sometimes laughing at myself, and sometimes, crying, and sometimes being upset, and whatever, just letting all the feels come through. Because I've done it before when I've gone through this program, and I've done it, after I finished working with the program with Diane. I did it when we started this program. I'm doing it now when I'm kind of going on a different journey. So there's always going to be these new changes and these new challenges and these new experiences and these new chapters, and all of these tools that you have in here will definitely help you be fully equipped for them when they come again outside of this program. So this is a program to really equip you for real life. So we're going for experience, not expectations. We're going to be present instead of picky. And take that with you. Let that sit, and let me know how this call resonates with you, if this is what you needed to hear right now, if this is the space where you are in right now. And wherever you are, just acknowledge it. Be present with it. Don't ignore it. Don't try to pretend like it doesn't exist. Don't try to pretend that you'll fix it tomorrow everything will be fine, or don't forget about it, because your time is now and you're in this program for a reason, for sure. yeah, so if any of you guys, Brandy or Stacy, you guys are here live, if you have any other questions or insights or anything that you want to share in the chat box, please go and do so now if you like. For the rest of you that are listening later, hi, and also goodbye at the same time. But thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of this program and showing up for yourself, because that's really what this is all about. Don't forget to post your 3 distinctions in the Facebook group. So I will post a little graphic here super quick in the Facebook group with our little quote of experiencing over expecting. And you guys can post your 3 distinctions down below and we can get a little conversation started. So remember that next week we will move this time to 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is 4 o'clock p.m. here in Austria where I am. And hopefully more of you guys can join that time if it works for you. If not, you always have the online or the later recording. Thank you. Okay, Stacy says something here. I'm going to address it now because she's here live. But she said, thank you to you guys for this program. I did want to ask about ACV in your coffee enema. I must say that this is the first time I've ever heard about adding apple cider vinegar in a coffee enema. But maybe this is something that you heard. I'm not sure. This is the first time that I've ever heard this here. So we do the coffee enemas, and then we do the ACV vaginal douching. And Stacy says it adds magnesium and good bacteria when you put apple cider vinegar in a coffee enema. I'm not going to answer that question because, like I said, that's really new to me, but we'll definitely get to that question. I'll mention it to Diane and we'll definitely get that answered. But as far as I know, we're doing the ACV vaginal douching and then the coffee enema in the other end there. So this is the first time I'm hearing about that, but we'll definitely get you an answer on that one. Thank you for the great question, Stacy. Brandy says progress over perfection. Amen. Great reminder for me. And that this is about healing on all levels, not just checking off some to-do list. Yes, you guys got this. You got this. And just write that down. You know, when I have like I have my journal here, but if there's something that really speaks to me, like saying progress over perfection or experiences over expectation, like write that shit down, put it, you know, in your car on the windshield, put it on the background of your phone, put it in your bathroom, like write these things down that are going to remind you of this moment or that moment when you had that experience. Write those things down and put them so you can see them. Put them in places that you can see them so you're reminded of them. Don't just say, oh yeah, that was a great call. And then, you know, 2 days later you forget everything. You know, it's like going to church on Sunday. That's why people go every Sunday, because by the following Sunday, they, you know, have forgotten everything that they've heard. So keep up with it, okay? Write those things down. Write those motivational quotes, those phrases, those words, those mantras, anything that's going to help you get in that zone and that feeling of knowing that this is for you and that nothing's going to be perfect. Write those things down too. That's really important. But yeah, Stacy will get you an answer on that. Brandy, thank you for your distinctions. You two ladies, thank you so much for joining live. For those of you that haven't or didn't join live and are listening later, I hope you enjoyed this as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys face-to-face on Monday, and then you guys will hear me again on Friday. Love you guys, all my sisters. Talk soon, okay? Bye.